Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If I didn't know that the Radio Free Europe is an arm of some agencies and some departments in some countries, I would say just that they're dumbasses. But since I know that they are financed partly by certain departments from our money, with or without our approval, I know that Radio Free Europe is a propaganda outlet, media outlet, that actually in this case works full-time against the Russians, the Chinese, Iranians, Venezuelans, North Koreans, anyone who opposes the guys. All right, so what happened now? Something very awful. They report something very awful. If true, this is not right whatsoever. But they're very, very, very fast to report these kinds of incidents far, far from Siberia. Why? Because they are related to Vladimir Putin. And we have to keep the baboons informed that the narrative runs this way. Vladimir Putin is an evil, crazy dictator, tyrant, with 90 or 80 some approval rating. All right, but don't mention that one in Radio Free Europe unless you say that that's fixed. Now, this is the article in discussion. Radio Free Europe. This is awful, if true. February 5, 2024. Siberian activist forcibly placed in psychiatric clinic again. So this guy is in the news not because of this. It's because he's an activist. I'm pretty sure the accident happens or abuse happens, but because he's an activist against guess whom, makes the news in Radio Free Europe, which is fine. It's fine. But I have 3 other articles that I will show you that the West functions in the same way. All right, even worse, I would say. Authorities in the Siberian city of Novokuznetsk forcibly placed noted activist and blogger Igor Gorlanov in a psychiatric clinic on unspecified grounds for a 3rd time since 2019, lawyer Alexei Paparikov said on February 5th. If this was abuse, obviously that is horrible and that needs to be remediated. Gorlanov has been known for his open criticism of local and federal authorities, including Putin. That's the only reason why these guys, Radio Free Europe, picked this piece of information. Can you imagine how deep they had to dig into this? That's the only reason. And I will show you why. In August 2023, a court in Novokuznetsk ordered the finance ministry to pay Gorlanov $1,100 for an illegal 1-month placement in a psychiatric clinic in December 2019. His lawyers said at the time that while in the clinic, Gorlanov's health deteriorated due to forced injections of unknown substances. Now that's bad. That's bad. And I'm glad these guys tell us about this. The only thing that I don't like is I know that this guy, I have a feeling that is only because of that guy over there. If he would be a blogger, if he would be a blogger against, I don't know, what's his name, Zelensky, these guys would not say anything I don't mention. I have a feeling. Now, let me show you in the free country of United States of America something similar, for even something smaller, you might say. But hey, we live in a free world here. But someone criticized another president in the United States of America, and he was ordered by a judge psychiatric care and evaluation. Can you guess who that is? Have you heard of Dinesh D'Souza? I told you about him a few days ago. Maybe you're familiar with him. So here is the article, one of the 3 that I will use. Fox News. This is from 2015. Democrat judge orders psychiatric counseling for Dinesh D'Souza. I'm not going to listen to Kelly here. All right. But nevertheless, I'm doing this so you know it's not only the next article that probably you never heard of, that outlet, which is WND. All right. So I'm not going to say, oh, you say, oh, WND. These are, just make it, no. That's why you build trust right here. Fox News, they reported as well. Reported it. That's a fact. And I'm going to go into the body of this article coming from these guys and this guy from the Newsweek. So I have two ready. Democrat judge, and he's the Zelensky style, I'm just having a feeling, orders psychiatric counseling for Dinesh D'Souza. Clinton appointee ignores physicians, orders more treatment for Dinesh. What do you mean ignores physicians? Because Dinesh's physicians said he didn't have to go. He doesn't have any mental issues. Nevertheless, the same thing maybe as this guy right here. But this is the free world here, not Putin's world. And here it is. New York, at a hearing Monday in Manhattan, in which he ruled filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza must continue community service for 4 more years, U.S. District Judge Richard M. Berman said he considers D'Souza's violation of federal campaign finance laws to be evidence of the psychological problem and order further counseling. He just determined that because he's a medical personnel. Where I worked, as an investigation, whenever you made a claim and you were, let's say, you're an investigator, and you say, well, I think he has some, needs some mental services, and the question by the attorney would be, in what capacity did you determine that? What authority do you have? What kind of credentials, Mr. Kosman? And I would say, well, I have a doctorate in, psychology or something, which I don't, but I wouldn't say that. So I say, well, that's and I would give some examples, and I said it's evident that, and I say, well, you're not trained into that, therefore your testimony regarding that should be tossed into garbage, okay? You're not an expert on that one. So same here, that judge is not an expert in determining that Dinesh D'Souza really needs mental evaluation and the counseling. Now, that's not all. D'Souza's defense counsel, Benjamin Brafman, so Brafman versus Berman, provided evidence to the court that the psychiatrist D'Souza was ordered to see found no indication of depression or a reason for medication. So, a medical personnel, trained, practicing, whatever, he said, I don't find any indication of depression or reason for medication. In addition, D'Souza's psychologist subsequently D'Souza consulted a psychologist, subsequently provided a written statement concluding that there was no need to continue the consultation because D'Souza was psychologically normal and well adjusted. But Judge Berman, who was appointed by Bill Clinton, disagreed, effectively overruling the judgment of the 2 licensed psychological counselors in the U.S. Probation Department had approved as part of D'Souza's criminal sentence. Got that? Next one. Judge orders anti-Obama filmmaker D'Souza receive psychological counseling. Anti-Obama, anti-Vladimir Putin. What's the difference? Different country, different names. But we pretend we're good and we call the other guys bad. It's the same garbage. This is the Dinesh D'Souza. And here we have it. D'Souza was sentenced, which is true. Let me go. Manhattan judge Jordan's documentaries, best known for documentaries critical of President Obama, to continue 4 more years of community service. D'Souza was sentenced. He pled guilty. He said, I didn't know, but he gave $10,000 for a campaign to a friend. Well, against the law, yeah, other people give other sums of money and they're good to go. D'Souza was, but if it's law, should be respected across the board. D'Souza was sentenced in September to 8 months in a work release center, 5 years of probation, a $30,000 fine, and community service after pleading guilty to campaign finance violations in 2014. He has arranged straw donors to contribute $10,000 to the failed 2012 U.S. Senate campaign of his colleague, friend Wendy Long. The psychiatrist D'Souza was first ordered to see
found no signs of depression, but U.S. District Judge Richard M. Berman overruled their findings and ordered D'Souza see a new psychological counselor weekly. I am not singling out Mr. D'Souza to pick on him, Judge Berman said. A requirement for psychological counseling often comes up in my hearings in case where I find it hard to understand why someone did what they did. So this God, Berman, if he can't find the reason or doesn't understand the reason, must be because you are crazy. That's why I said generals in the military and in the police, in this kind of hierarchical institutions, and the judges, they think they're gods. I worked with them many occasions. In court, they are gods. That's what they expect you to address them, to behave everybody. And he's like, contempt of court, they throw in jail right on the spot. If you're mouthy or you're not respectful enough, according to each guy's big ego. So the same here. If I don't understand why someone did something, I will send you to crazy house. Now that's a judge. And again, anybody dares to ask him, under what the fuck ever, abilities can you do that? How did you evaluate that? Don't ask God that. He works in mysterious ways. So he continued that Mr. D'Souza committed this crime involves a colossal failure of insight and introspection. The case noted also that, say, Mr. D'Souza has weaknesses in controlling his own impulses and that he is prone to anger in reaction to criticism. Now, that's a political statement right there. So Mr. Berman, he's a psychiatrist all of a sudden. He knows everything about human nature. Remember that imbecile Ketanji Jackson? Oh, yeah, he's an imbecile. Appointed, diversity hire as the Supreme Court judge. And when she asked about if she knows what the difference a man and a woman is, and she said, I'm not a biologist. So how in the fuck are you going to determine that it was a male entering the house or the woman entering the house? How do you judge that if you don't know if it's a man or a female? I mean, really. But this judge goes beyond that. He knows more than Ketanji Jackson knows. Ketanji Jackson did not know if the difference between a man and a woman. She's not a biologist, and she was smirking like she was smart. Well, you got where you are just because of that. You know what I mean? So here you have, when these guys are, which was awful, if that happened as Radio Free Europe reports, to that guy over there in Russia was awful. If that, not awful, criminal, that's criminal. But on this side, just the flavor is different. It's more intellectual here. Over there, it's supposed to be more rudimentary, or more, animalic. Thank you very much, Radio Free Europe. I guarantee you they will not make any article on something like this. And this is one incident that I personally knew. I knew about two more, but I said I'm not going to bother you with that. But pay attention when you have a problem with someone that, let's say the guys, they went to the Capitol. The rioters or whatever, the trespasser. Some of them were violent, some of them were trespassers, some of them were idiots, some of them were as they were. I guarantee you they were ordered a psychiatric evaluation. Why psychiatric? Because psychiatric, you go over there and a psychiatrist is going to give you medication, subscribe to your medication. And if you fail to take it, then we're going to have a problem because you don't fulfill the requirements of the court. You have to be rehabilitated. Remember that movie Idiocracy that I love very much? Where how the guy, the main personage over there, the main character, his name was Not Sure by mistake anyway. He was sent to rehabilitation. Now this is the rehabilitation in the United States of America pretty soon. We're almost there. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.